Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, and thank you very much for joining another EPP webinar. Today, it's a great pleasure to have with us Pavel Dadura and Attila Molnar from Revenue AI. My name is Silvia Pradas from EPP Pricing Platform, and before I hand over to Pavel, I would like to briefly explain how this webinar will work. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. However, you can submit your questions anytime by clicking on the Q&A button that you will find on the control panel at the bottom, and they will be answered at the end of the presentation. If you prefer to make a live question, you can also click the raise hand button. We will unmute you and you can speak directly. And the webinar will be recorded and will be available afterward for all EPP Prime members. Thank you very much for your attention. And now I would like to hand it over to Pavel. Thank you.
Thank you, Silvia. Good afternoon, everyone. So as a brief introduction, we will explain who we are and why we are here. But at the same time, we would like to use this opportunity also to get to know something about yourself. So while we will be starting the conversation, I would like you to fill out the short poll that I've just launched for you. So starting with myself, first of all, I'm super excited that I'm here with you guys. And I need to tell it because I'm Polish by birth, right? And I'm an introvert as well. So you won't see that I'm super excited. I need to tell it as well. I was building data-driven organizations and transforming them in CPG and consulting industry for over 15 years. And less than 2.5 years, I'm shaping Revenue AI products and helping our clients to prepare their organizations for data-driven AI acceleration, which, as you already see, and you will see during this webinar, is at your doorsteps. So this is myself, and I will like Attila to introduce himself as my co-host.
Thanks, Pavel, and thank you guys for having us. I'm Attila Molnar, and I've been working as product owner at Revenue AI for almost 3 years now, mostly focusing on CPG, FMCG industry. And I'm also very excited to show you guys what we have here today.
Okay, so I will keep the poll running for a moment, right? And at this time, I will just explain briefly for those of you who are not familiar what Revenue AI is about. What we do. So in a nutshell, we are a startup on their scale-up journey. And if I were to describe ourselves in one sentence, it would be like the organization that can help you to say hello to the data-driven decision-making. And data-driven, AI-enabled, because we are bringing the unique blend of AI-powered intelligence, customer centricity, revenue boosting capabilities that will help to supercharge your business. And simply what you will see during the webinar today and how some of our products can help you grow, it is simply a growth catalyst on steroids. So it's a natural blend of data, business, and tech capabilities that help you to transform the organization. So having said that, let me stop the poll and get some initial results. So as I see, we have representatives from CPG and retail industry, as well as some others. And when it comes to the tools that you are usually using, it's mainly Experience and Excel, right? So from that perspective, I don't see yet too many people getting more into advanced data science models and AI technology. And I'm glad to see that majority of you came here also to learn something about cognitive AI. So you are not that yet exposed from a professional perspective into AI-driven technologies and what is happening over there. So from that perspective, let me then move to the presentation itself and start to describe what we are here to do. So first of all, I would like to have one thing demystified. So AI is not going to take your jobs, and I fully agree with Mr. Baldwin that it is simply the people who use AI that will take your jobs. or potentially you will be the ones who take somebody else's jobs. It is the same situation that was happening in 19th century or the beginning of 20th century with industrialization, where people who were capable of using technology just simply replaced the ones who were not willing to adapt to the changing ecosystem. And what we are doing here is simply we are helping you to accelerate this digital journey and have a commercial excellence brought to the next level. And what it really means, right? So we will be talking today about the mix and promo management and how AI copilots can help disrupt or improve this part of revenue growth management capabilities. So let me just baseline all of the attendees on what exactly mix and promo can bring to the table from a company perspective, right? So as a majority of you may know, but given the diverse nature of the audience, I would like to make sure that we are on the same page, is that mix itself, based on your priorities, can either help you to engage the broader customer base or enhance customer loyalty and satisfaction. From the other side, it can help you to increase the revenue or improve profit margin, which ultimately leads to overall financial performance increase. And also what is important is that the differentiation from competition and establishment of the unique competitive advantage can happen through the proper mix management. Last but not least, you can respond and adapt to the fast-changing markets much more dynamically when you have a proper mix structure in place and the tools that can help you to manage this effectively. So this is from a perspective of mix, right? When it comes to the promo, one side is the attraction of the customer in the crowded market and constantly increasing competition. Ability to adapt the changing consumer behaviors, which simply helps you to keep your business up and running, building brand awareness and recognition, driving sales and revenue for sure, and increasing the engagement and loyalty of the customers. So all of those elements are really connected and help you either to keep or increase or make the acceleration to your market shares and revenue growth. So from that perspective, there are several issues with that, right? So if you are not doing this in the right way, you can definitely fall into the trap of the increasing inventory, difficulty to have agility to adapt to the market changes, wasting resources, and having the huge opportunity cost sunk into all those activities. And with this one, we will be simply trying to showcase you how you can use for given a couple of business scenarios, how the new tools in the AI-driven ecosystem can help you to address those challenges, right? So we will start briefly about explaining what cognitive AI is, and then showcasing on the example of promotion journey, how this AI tools in terms of technology, in terms of the people equipped with the technology can potentially disrupt it and how we are disrupting it. And then I would also like to focus on a couple of scenarios which Attila will run us through so that you see it in action, how it works, and then we will leave some room for you to engage into interactive session of the Q&A. So we will be responding to your questions. Okay, so let's move on. So what is really cognitive AI? If you think about it from a pure definition, it is an example of artificial intelligence who can communicate with you using the senses that you understand, right? So it is simply about perception, so understanding and understanding language and communicating with you, about reasoning, so simply being able to draw conclusions from your inputs and propose you some solutions. It's about learning as well, so simply ability to adapt to your behavior, right? So what you are doing and reacting to that. Giving access to the broad knowledge, which some of you may have already experienced through interactions with solutions similar to the ChatGPT. It is also context awareness, which means that it can provide you personalized experiences. Simply knowing what exactly you are doing and what kind of interest you have. And last but not least, providing explainability and transparency. And what it means, it simply helps you to build trust, helps you to increase the adoption. And the reason for that is very simple. It can explain you the rationale behind a specific decision-making process. And as such, you are more tempted as a human being to trust the result and be willing to move one step further in your journey to give more driving power for the AI-driven solutions. So, as I already mentioned, Microsoft and OpenAI are currently at the main first pages of the digital media, talking about the cognitive AI, talking about ChatGPT, but this is just a tip of the iceberg. And why I bring them here today is because what we are doing, we are just simply blending this type of cognitive AI technology with the data machine learning type of ecosystem, which ultimately leads to the business-driven adoption of AI technology. So simply giving you the power to use this kind of services and this kind of products in order to improve your day-to-day business decisions. Okay, so having said that, I will hand it over to Attila to explain this on the example of the promotion journey.
Yeah, thank you. And so when it comes to the promotion management journey, right, there is always a number of questions to be answered, not necessarily always in this order, that varies from company to company, but questions like what is your competition doing, what are the best products to promote, what channels are working well for you to get your desired uplift and an incremental volume. But you also want to understand the return on investment side, because that's ultimately what gets reflected in the bottom line. And what we've seen in recent years, that for a typical client of ours, it can take multiple weeks, even months, to go through one iteration of planning with the retailers. And from what I can see in the poll results, the usual tools for business users are definitely Excel for planning. That doesn't seem to go away, and maybe some kind of reporting interface like Power BI to check the result. But now with Revenue AI's solution portfolio, we can accelerate this for you, not just in time, right, decreasing the weeks and months to the matter of days, but also in accuracy as well. Augment business decisions from getting insights to getting recommended actions with laid out expected impact, all with the help of cognitive AI.
Thank you, Attila. So just to summarize what Attila has highlighted, right? What AI-driven solutions and the Revenue AI solutions, which is one of those, are doing, they are disrupting the whole process. And what you see on the screen as those two bubbles is exactly the showcase how this is disrupted, right? So from like a standard flow of the questions of the analysis that typical business users is doing, we are getting to the point where simply you can ask AI a specific question and have the answer ready at your fingertips, which Attila will be showcasing you during the demo part. And simply what is happening here is that depending on your organizational readiness, you can delegate significant part of non-critical human engagement to the copilots, which simply will help you to focus on impacting the business where your presence is critical. Okay, and this leads us to key benefits of the AI-powered copilot. I will not read through all of them. You can do it by yourself, but simply what is important from that perspective is that you should be able, with the use of Copilot, to focus on the items where it matters the most, right? So given the simple regular life example, if you are driving your car in the foreign city, you usually don't drive with a paper map, right? You rely on Google Maps or similar solution because it's not your competency to know exactly how to read the map and use it while driving, right? Your competency evolved from the times where you were reading the map down to the usage of the Google Maps. And the same way it will evolve in the business context right now with the usage of the cognitive AI kind of solutions. Okay, so how really the platform works and the whole ecosystem works in revenue AI case, right? So all of that is embedded in the business cycle from the point where the data acquisition happens down to the point where the data that has been provided to the platform gives insights to the users, right? So through the data ingestion zone, where you can collect all the information about the data, make them unified and cleaned using the AI-driven algorithms, and get also Copilot inform you about what is happening, what is the quality of the data, so you can make sure that you can fully rely on this kind of data, down to the modeling engine, where all the magic happens in terms of machine learning algorithms, typical econometrical modeling that you are doing on a day-to-day basis, but on a much larger scale and on the much bigger data sets, down to the alerting and smart notification kind of capabilities, which are embedded in the platform that allow you to give some of the power to the Copilot and make you use the solution in a way that simply you react when it is needed, and you focus by yourself on driving business value, whereas the Copilot provides you the cognitive insights. And having said that, Attila will walk you through the two scenarios where we will be showcasing how the usage of such tools can boost your business value.
Right. So the first scenario that we'll walk you through today is about negative mix impact and how to mitigate this impact through pricing. This is probably something that many of you have experienced in your day-to-day operations, being responsible for multiple categories, brands, dozens, or even hundreds of products. So here's a brief summary of what will be our journey for this. We'll receive an alert on brand level, negative mix impact, right? We'll explain and show how alerting works. We'll follow up on this analysis with our interconnected revenue AI platform to identify the root cause of the issue. We'll gather some more information about mix calculations and strategies of what to do. And ultimately, we'll build a new pricing plan to quickly address this phenomenon. And what we've seen in many places amongst our clients, that usually there are some definite bottlenecks in this way that should actually be addressed. So there are time-consuming manual checks right after each data refresh that prevents acting on close to real time, even if the data is available. There is a lack of easy access to knowledge bases and related materials, personal dependencies. No one necessarily knows what to do. And even if I have the information and I supposedly know the strategy I should address it with, I have no idea about the potential impact of my decision. So the RAI solution portfolio is to address these very pain points. Alerting helps me to get the information as soon as possible without me having to do the job, right? The whole point is that let the machine do the job and I can focus on the value added part of it. The RAI Copilot is there to guide me through the dashboards and knowledge bases. And with the price simulator, we can use AI-based simulation results to enable making the best decision and be aware of what any action will result in. So with that, let me take over sharing and shift to my Microsoft Teams. As you can see, this is something hopefully many of you are starting your days in. I have some history about some company metrics, and I am simulating a data refresh now right? Where with the new incoming data, the data monitoring system is tracking whether my scope and my sensitivity, my threshold levels are reached. If there is anything to report to me, you can actually set these alerts up very easily, still in Teams, so you don't, there is nowhere else you need to go. I have a couple configured here. You can just come into the Manage Alerts tab, select the KPIs, add in what are the brands, or what is the category, or what is the country potentially that you're interested in, what is the time, and what is the actual threshold that you want to be aware. If anything happens with your KPI, you always aware, right? So you don't have to do any manual checks, but the alerting and monitoring system takes care of it for you.
Yeah.
So let's start with the first alert, right? We are getting notified.
One important thing, Attila, sorry to interrupt. Like, I want to make clear for everyone that the demo itself is happening on the demo data set, right? So any similarity to known brands, etc., is unintentional, right? So it's purely mocked up data that we are using to showcase those capabilities.
In these, thanks for that. So it's definitely purely for demonstration purposes. It's a true to life but camouflaged set. And in our theoretical case, we are working at a company called Mondelez, right? I'm sure many of you know or heard or even work with that. But what my alerting scope at the same time has notified me here is that I have in my dark chocolate category, my brand in the hypermarket channel, right? This is the scope that I've set. There is a decrease in positive revenue mix, right? It has decreased below 50K. That was my threshold, and this is what I need to address here, right? So the first thing I'll do is, now that I'm aware of this information, I'm going over to the Revenue AI platform in the mix module, where I can see that actually I'm presented with the dashboard that is pre-filled in. So the Copilot actually taken all these parameters and transferred it to the portal, so that I don't need to click anywhere. I'm immediately presented with the dashboards I actually want to look at. So let's just take a second to analyze the picture, right? Overall, the image is pretty encouraging, right? So there is a revenue variance analysis from last year to this year. I can see that that's a nice revenue growth, mostly driven by volume and price impact. And the mix is somewhat neutral, but per the company's strategy, right? I need to keep it positive. But ultimately, what I care about is the overall revenue, right? That's what I ultimately care about. So the same analysis is actually presented here, broken down by brand, and this is the brand where actually the mix impact, as we saw in the alert, has decreased below 50K. But the overall image is still encouraging here, so there is a nice growth, mostly driven by our pricing, right? So one last thing within the analysis, I still don't know what is actually causing this decrease. So, but before I go any further down, I want to see how this particular brand compares to the other ones. And what I'm seeing here is that the overall share of revenue that this brand is bringing in is actually decreasing, and also the average revenue per unit, my brand, is actually at the bottom of the list. So I'll definitely need to see if I can do something about it, right? If I don't know where to go, right, I can always turn to our integrated Copilot through cognitive search, and I can start typing in some keywords. So I've only added, right, the couple of keywords about mix analysis, dark chocolate, and I'm immediately getting recommended a number of choices at my disposal. I can screen through them quickly, and I'm selecting the one that has my brand name included. So it takes me immediately to the mix details page, where I can see the high-level numbers from where I started, but also broken it down to the individual product level. Now I can see that I have two products, the Raisin Box 500 and the regular Box 500. They are fairly comparable in terms of total revenue. So the regular box actually is still giving more than half of the revenue, but this is the one that's causing me a bit of a pain in the mix area. But overall, right, what we stated, that what I care about is ultimately the total revenue, but the strategy still requires me to keep this positive. So I still need to make sure that any action I do, it copes with these principles. A little bit on the revenue distribution, right? We stated that still the regular box is giving me more than half the revenue, but when it comes to revenue per unit, that's kind of the lowest of the low, if you like. So now that I have assessed the situation, I understand what is the product that I need to focus on, and what is my total brand's situation overall. I want to gather some more information about potentially what are these mix numbers that are getting presented to me, if that is not obvious. But so what I did, right, I searched for a couple of keywords, mix algo. In this case, I'm interested in how the algorithm works, how the calculations are being made, and I was immediately recommended two different knowledge base items. And the first one I clicked on is actually an external a Confluence page, a wiki page. This is a huge benefit. One of the best features of our Copilot to be integrated into external or internal knowledge bases, where we can connect, and we keywords we allow the users to navigate them, so that I can come here and educate myself. I don't need to speak to anyone, don't need to ask anyone, don't need to wait for anyone to get the information that I need. So I can read through and get the information that I need. In addition to this, right, so I understand the calculations now. One of the other things I want to do, as we discussed per our agenda, is that I want to see if there is any recommended next step in terms of how to mitigate, what's the strategy when it comes to mix management. So I've searched for a mix playbook that is also an additional external wiki page, Confluence page, where I can see, I read through what are the activities, the required steps that I need to take, what are the rules that I need to cope with, if there is anything when it comes to mix management. Right, so I'm coming back to our Revenue AI platform, and now I'm interested in seeing if this overall phenomenon is something that I can mitigate. I can increase my brand's overall value still. So what I want to do is that I step into the price, searching for the price simulation. And here also that you can see there is a long list. There is a long list of options presented to me. This is the one that I like the most because it has my brand, so I don't need to do any selection here. I can just come here and screen through and validate some of the values. These are the two products, right, that we seen in the dashboards previously. I have the Raising box 500 and the regular box, right? And what I want to see, there is two input variables here. One is the price change, so the price increase input. The other one that I decreased to 0 for now is the cost of goods sold, but this can also be used as an inflation modeling tool. So real quick, just screening through the volume sales simulation, I have a chance to, with a slight increase, I have the chance to increase not only my value sales, but overall my gross margin per piece as well. And if I come back to the mix simulation, I can still see that overall the numbers are pointing me to the right direction. So what I want to do now that I understand that I can recommend this mitigation plan. Sorry, no, didn't want to go to the knowledge base, but stay on the price simulation page. What I want to do is that I create a bookmark for this so that I can share this easily with my team. And this is immediately copied to my clipboard, so I can come back here and share this with my stakeholders. All right. Is there anything else, Pavel, that you wanted to add to the scenario that we went through?
So just one highlight, right? So what Attila explained so far, right, is something what can be automated end to end, right? And we just showcased you also the reasoning process in between, so that you can understand how ultimately organizations go through that, because they start usually with automating the alerting part, getting the cognitive assistant enabled on the platform. And then once their capability mature over time, they are able to trust the Copilot to the level that simply they are getting recommendations and already with the alerts and moving on to the execution, just validating whether it makes sense for them or not.
All right, thank you. And with that, we can shift to the second scenario that is about cross-department alignment for new promotion plan against the competition, right? So the structure is really similar. We are getting hold of new information through alerting. We're following up on the analysis, gathering more information, understanding what's the root cause of the analysis. And we're going to build a new promotion plan to mitigate the further impact, right? And what we've seen in previous cases, that competitor monitoring is often non-existent, right? Even if companies have the resources in terms of both manpower and data, they're mostly focusing on themselves first. The company playbooks are rarely used. There are dependencies. There are no immediate action recommended, right? So knowledge sharing is very, very limited in many cases. Or even if someone is aware of the information or knows what to do or how should that be addressed, there is no awareness necessarily on the expected results. So you could say that people in many cases, when it comes to promotion management, they are driving blindly. So the right solution portfolio, these are the exact pain points that we want to address. So there is real-time insights monitoring that includes competitor performance, right? So not only about your KPIs or your results, but includes the competitor's performance as well. The Copilot enables navigating reports, insights, and knowledge bases. The promotion simulator is then helping us at the end of the road to get the highest probability results that you are satisfied with. So I'm going to shift back to my teams and look at the second alert that I've received. Right here, it's clearly stating that there is a competitor successful promotional activity identified, and then I'm immediately getting recommended next steps here to review this latest report. Take a look at the RGM knowledge base for any promo playbook guidance, and then check a recommended promotion execution plan. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click at looking at the competitor performance. And here I'm getting connected to the promotion module of the Revenue AI platform. To be exact, this is our promo calendar, which is actually something that we have been put together, that has been put together for all the competitor, right? Not just us, but all the competitors as well, out of sellout data, right? So this is actually very important because companies are not handing over their promo calendars to anyone. So this is something that we can put together. Well, namely not us manually, but the promotion algorithm of Revenue AI. So here we are presented with an army of KPIs, and the one in particular that I'd like us to focus on is the ROI metric. This ROI metric helps us decide whether a promotion can be considered effective or not, right? If it's above 100, it is considered effective. And if I scroll through, these are all competitors' products, right? So in the previous case, if you remember, we are looking at everything for our company. Right now, we are monitoring what the competition is doing. So I can see for example, this product. So most of my competitor products are running, very fairly effective promotions. And in addition to this, I can help if I want to. I can deep dive into additional metrics on incremental units, base units, even internal or external cannibalization in some cases. Right, that's super useful. Or if I want to, I can understand what are the forward buying effects, right? So if something is at a discount, for example, at any retailer, people tend to stock up, right? That is an impact on this as well. So I understand now that I have quite steep competition, and I need to make sure that whatever I do, I need to be smart with my decision, right? I don't only need to be fast, but need to be smart. That's the name of the game when it comes to promo management. So what I do first is that I'd like to see if there is a playbook on promotion. So I'm typing a couple keywords into my cognitive search bar, and I'm immediately getting recommended this promo playbook page where I can come in and educate myself and see what are the promotion objective, right? What is the company strategy? What are the activities that I'm allowed, or what are the guidelines overall when it comes to promo management? And in addition to this, right, again, just referring back to being smart with your dollars when it comes to promo, like there is always a limitation. There should always be a limitation of how much you can spend on promo. So also not just wiki pages, but actual budget numbers can also be looked up with the help of the Copilot. One thing I would just stop here for a second and highlight: there are multiple different categories when it comes to these keyword results, these search results. One of them are the internal dashboards, and the other ones are that there can be external wiki pages, as we've seen. So the first thing I'm gonna do before I start looking at optimizing my promotion is to come on here and see what has been the approved budget for promotion, right? Because you cannot spend all the money, cannot allocate all your money all at once. So now that I have this information, I can come back and see what can I optimize. Right now we are in the milk chocolate category, so I'm going to see a result for my company, right? I can only optimize for my company, right? I cannot make any decisions on behalf of my competition. And where I've landed is our page for promo optimization by budget, where typically there is a few input fields. One of them is the budget itself, but the other ones are how many weeks on promotions we are willing to do, at least how many weeks need to be between them, right? So you don't want to over promote all at once, because then that would become the shelf price. And maximum how many times in a year can I execute on this promotion. So I quickly inputted these numbers, and here I'm getting presented with the best, what we call the best execution or recommendation by the engine, that takes into account a number of explanatory variables, including seasonalities, elasticities, and giving me the most optimized way to allocate my budget. These are the products, and this is the recommended way, the recommended time, how the engine is proposing me to execute on promotion. And you can already see that with my limited budget, I can actually even just for a quarter, I can reach over 20,000 of increment value. Before I can start executing on this, I want to make sure that I fully understand the P&L implications of this. So we are coming over to the best execution P&L tab, where we are facing a similar a long list of KPIs that I can assess what is the expected result of any promotion, including my return on investments and uplifts both in terms of units and value percent. And this can, by the way, also be downloaded. One of the last things to move this, put this to work, put this to execution, is to create a bookmark. I'm going to save, create a new name for it. And one of the last things before I can put this into execution is that I share this for approval. And now that I achieved this, I can go on and focus on other things. Pavel, is there anything that you want to add?
Thanks, Attila. I appreciate the demo part. One element that I wanted to highlight out of this is the fact that simply the seamless experience that you've seen through the Teams interaction and the portal itself is something what works not only within Revenue AI ecosystem, but is something what can be embedded within each and every client ecosystem, right? So simply your analytics can be embedded into the portal itself. They can be wired into the Copilot. Your knowledge base can be wired into Copilot, right? And simply your organizational knowledge can be used in the same way, simply complementing the capabilities that you are interested in to acquire from Revenue AI, right? So this is like a combination of the two that works the best. So I think with that, we can move to the Q&A session. So a couple of questions already have arrived, as I see it in the panel. So let's start with the one that was related to the demo itself, right? So how is it possible to calculate ROI from competitors without knowing their actual cost or any other KPI?
Yes, and I can actually take this one. So very good question. Thanks for that. One of the inputs when it comes to return on investment, right? The two sides is the cost and the benefit, right? So the benefit side is the uplift, which are coming from an estimated base and the actual. So that's kind of the uplift part of it. The cost side, what I guess you're mostly interested in, can come from two or even three places. One is the discount applied. We can detect if there was any discount applied, so that would cost as a cost. And the second part is that we can introduce default cost for the promo mechanics. So that is a number of input parameters that can go into the ROI calculation. We can somewhat actually customize it on a client or even on a channel chain combination basis. But that's where it's coming from, and many things, right? So there's the competition side, and just one last thing on the internal side, we have been working with actual promo calendars whenever, if that is available for any client, that would actually be count as another layer of insights. What are the promotion mechanics that are being used, and so add another explanatory factor, if you like, to the whole model.
Thanks, Attila. Second question is about using part of capabilities to replace some of the capabilities of the platform by your own. I think that I've already partially answered this question after Attila's demo. But the important element to that is that the platform itself is a multiple puzzles ecosystem, which means simply that you can plug and play different elements of it. So, for example, if you have a specific module that already handles the price pack architecture, let's take this one, you can plug it in to the portal and have it wired into the rest of the capabilities. If you want to use your analytical capabilities from other ecosystems that you've already developed in the past, it can be wired as well. If you want to use your own algorithm that is, for example, used to calculate price elasticities, because for some reason you think that it's better explaining the way how your business works versus what we have on the platform, it is also possible, right? So those kind of plug and play bricks are what platform consists of. Next one, how can the tool help with software as a service products prices? So this question can be extended to the e-com business as well. So I will answer the two in one from that perspective. And there are a couple of elements, right? So we were not showcasing today the capability to embark and integrate external data sources coming from third parties, and also a capability to scrap online data, what we are doing for some of the clients, and have those prices available on the platform, unified using our AI-driven algorithms, and matched completely with your data sets from a hierarchy perspective and comparison perspective. And as a result, helping you to run the proper pricing strategy for your products, regardless if those are physical products in digital space or fully digital products. It's really a matter of competition. Next one. Can you integrate the Copilot with the SharePoint, like your own apps that are used for documentation like Playbook or Budget Excels? I think that Attila answered this during the presentation itself, that yes, you can integrate those elements. So what you see right now on the screen is the SharePoint integration. Right now it's our internal, but for the demo purpose, but it can be external SharePoint, it can be your knowledge base, it can be an external knowledge base, as well as third-party data providers, which some of them we already collaborate and can enable the data from them for yourself. When it comes, for example, to the cost of goods sold calculations, if we are talking about the commodities and similar, down to the point where we can integrate your third-party data set that you have either acquired through the partnership with your retailers or similar. The next question is about price changes for any price or just discounts. So Attila, would you like to answer this one?
Yeah, I mean any price, right? Discounts included. So like any price, because as soon as either when there are multiple ways for the data, for the prices to get into the system, right? One of them is to Pavel's point, to scrape it from an e-com site, right? The other one is for the company's internal records. These are the most widely used cases that we have. So in both cases, we establish what we call a bench price, right? So the standard price, and whatever deviation, whatever change we or the model experience from that perspective, it can decide whether that was a one-off time, right? It can go actually down to the individual store or individual website level, or that's so a temporary discount or a temporary raise from that perspective. And if not, so if there is a hike or if there are different services included to, I think one of the questions included different time periods for software prices, right? So it's completely normal to have a different pricing plan for a 1 month subscription, like a month by month subscription, than a year by year one. So those count from this perspective, those count as separate products, separate services, and each of them would have their own bench price, and each of them would have their own discount or raise level.
Is it needed to populate revenue AI with historical data or just current prices? And the answer for that one is it depends, right? So if you're interested in having all the algorithms running simulations, different business scenarios for you generating recommendations, then you will need historical data, right? But if you're interested in several capabilities that do not require the historical data, like alerting, right? This is the point where this is not necessary. And if the question nature is coming from the fact that you don't have a historical data and you need to build it up, right? And you are talking about the high frequency ecosystem, which is, for example, e-com digital, right? Then the data granularity is as granular as we can go, right? So depending on how frequently the data is captured, and this data set can be quickly built up in order to provide also the required simulation and the data modeling from that perspective. So is the price elasticity calculated within the tool, or does it need to be fed in the tool? Want to take it, Attila, or
yeah, so I think that's a great question, right? So the whole revenue AI ecosystem is actually based on a data processing framework that is actually doing not only the historical calculations, but is actually feeding the simulator with values, right? The whole idea of artificial intelligence is to detect the pattern, the historical patterns, and understand what a change in price or what a change in some product attribute, for example, how it would actually translate to volume sales and then overall total value sales. So before we can actually run any simulation, some kind of history would be great. And just to piggyback on the previous question on the history, right? The longer history, obviously, the longer history we are able to fed, the more accurate, with more confidence level, the simulator tools can work. So that's you know, if it's available, the longer data history that we have, the better.
Yeah, and just to build on what Attila has shared, right? It's not only about like individual price elasticity, but also cross product price elasticities. We have ability to calculate and simulate the switching matrix directly from the data, so you don't need to purchase it from any data providers as well if you're using the platform. And there are many more that we don't have time to explain right now, but if you want to connect with us, then we can just explain it in more details offline. So is the tool available worldwide or just specific countries? It's available worldwide, right? And so I will connect this with the data that I got earlier on the ability to work with Asia, right? So yes, we work with Asia, we work with Latin America as well. So it's global tool, and it can be used and also with Africa. So it can be used across the globe, and it can be implemented from one single country and scaled up to like global tool if this is a company strategy. Okay, so the next one is focus of the tool on B2B company, whereas the competitor performing the B2C channels. How would it work for the B2C company? So would the supermarket use this real-time adjustment or of executed promotion to be able to just look at the performance of the promo with the same product and the different supermarket? And with that mentioned, how do we don't go into the downward spiral of AI generating alerts and then suggestions, and then competitors does the same, and we go on and on and just simply get into this vicious cycle, right? So let me answer this in two parts. The first one is it's not only B2B, it's also B2C, right? So from that perspective, the insight that you can get translate not only for the typical Unilever or P&G or any other FMCG company that works with distributors or with like large companies, but it also can be used by retailers who has access to the direct data feeds and act accordingly on what is happening for their products as well, and see the results from that perspective. And also what I was mentioning before in terms of the use of e-commerce channel, right? This is where companies like Unilever that the question was mentioning use for the B2C, right? And from that perspective, this is something what you can see on a different websites, what is happening if you are scraping this data properly, what is happening between, let's say, France Carrefour and France Auchan for your online present products versus your website, and whether it is something what is happening constantly, or there are some abbreviations to this one, and get alerts on this And second part of the question, the downward spiral, this is a question of finding the steady state, right? So it's really about like, if you are right now acting in a action response with your competitors in a physical world, right? In the digital world, it will happen much faster, assuming that all the competitors will be using at the same time tools, right? So this will be most likely inevitable. But the beauty of it is that the steady state will be found, right? And this is something what AI will do. And by those recommendations, there will be steady state. And where your value comes in and to where your brain power can be deployed is really finding a way to disrupt those kind of solutions. So the value will not be coming from the fact that you will get to the steady state, but simply that you will come up with the new ideas that will simply change what is happening on the market, because you will have time to do so. Assumption that all the competitors will be using the same tools and have the same algorithms that perform in the same way. This is like something what will not happen over the next couple of years for sure. Okay. How much time it takes from start to launch of the project? So this is something what takes, depending on the scale, from pilot couple of days to couple of weeks. So this is the typical implementation, right? And when it comes to the number of people that is needed, we need at least one person who is willing to start and B has a knowledge about the company, right? Because all the beauty of this is coming from the fact that you can scale 10x or 20x your capabilities with the help of those tools, and simply be able to provide the value for your business so that it grows and you can start accelerating it. And is it possible to connect Revenue AI with Power BI? Yes, it is possible. And we were not showing this particularly, right? But you can run the same kind of Copilot search and have same discussion with fully automatically scripted and AI learned ecosystem using Power BI as well. And is it possible that AI makes price suggestion based on the past behavior, like last year, same time, etc.? Yes, it's possible. Okay. So I think that we are closely getting to the end of the time. So if we can go Attila just to summary. If there are any other open questions, we will answer them after the webinar, right? And we will send to all participants like the whole list of the questions that were asked with the answers, so that you have it also for yourself. So a couple of learnings that I wanted you to get from this webinar, right? So you can read through it on your screens, but one important element that I want to highlight is that it's really up to you, right? It's really up to you how you will behave and interact in the realm of AI-driven technologies race. And simply, you cannot wait anymore, right? Because simply the race is already on. And from that perspective, your critical thinking is something what makes a difference, right? So the sooner you start to use those tools, and the sooner you are able to come up to defining the clear objectives for by yourself and or by your team, then this is something what will help you quickly accelerate growth of your team, growth of your organization, and ultimately lead to the value added for your business. And as a last point, Attila, if you could switch to the next slide. We would like to encourage you to join the next training that will be happening on the June 22nd. It will be run by our data science lead, Gergo, and will be focused on the pricing AI fundamentals for Promo and Mix. Okay, over to you, Sylvia.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Pavel and Attila, for your time and excellent presentation. And also thanks to all the participants for joining the webinar with us today.